Yes, everybody, welcome back. How's it going? How are you all doing today? Hope everyone's having a good day. Have you been outside the house? Have you been washing your hands? You dirty bastards. Cheers for joining us. Cheers for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Everyone good? Everyone having a good old day? There's actually been some good news coming out. News coming out, shall we say. Not necessarily all good, not necessarily all 100% believable, but there has been some news coming out, and boy, are we thankful for that news coming out. I'll tell you what, I am, because I am getting stir crazy, I am getting cabin fever, I am getting all of the above. Let us know how you're getting on in the comments and all the rest of it. Give it a like I said, make sure to subscribe. Let's talk about this guy, De Ligt. You thought, last summer, when he signed for Juventus, we're done talking about him for a couple of years. Is it just me, or is this what you get with a Raiola client? Do you know what I mean? The guy's been there not even a season. Not only that, but I've not had time to throw it into this transfer talk. But I saw a report today about Haaland. United and Real Madrid are going head-to-head for Haaland. You're like, hang on. He's been at Dortmund for 2 months. Is this what you get with people associated with Mino Raiola? They're like, standing here with a shirt like that, there you go. Yeah, enjoyed me my little stay here. Blah. Right, should we start the transfer rumours for me leaving then? I'm sick of this circus around transfers. Get them done. And honour your contract for fuck's sake. Nightmare. Righty, here we go. So another chapter in this saga comes after reports that De Ligt has struggled to settle in Italy. He's only started 17 of the 26 games in Serie A. He has had a mixed season, starting with numerous poor performances, according to the Times, after being thrown into the team because of the Chiellini back injury back in August. He was then dropped by Sarri in the new year for Demiral. And he's looked set for a bit of a long spell on the bench until the Turkish defender was sidelined with a long-term injury. De Ligt rejected interest from United, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, if everyone's to be believed, last summer before joining the Italian champions. But sources, and I do wonder if this is just Mino being Mino, I've told ESPN that Solskjaer is still keen to recruit a centre-back in the next window, and that the young Dutchman is said to have the perfect profile for Solskjaer's United. Now, he's not a shit defender. He's not gone shit overnight. He's certainly a defender for the future, someone who's not going to peak for 4, 5, 6 years. And sometimes a move doesn't work out for a player. Sometimes the club, the culture, the atmosphere, everything just doesn't quite work out for him. But I do have to question, he's been there a year. If he's moving on after a year, at this age, I question that. I question the validity in that. I question Mino Raiola in that. Was it a better move to have took him to United over Juventus? I'm not going to defend that, to be honest. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I think going to Juventus was a bit of a no-brainer. But if the manager doesn't fancy her, what can you do? And if it is a case of that, manager doesn't fancy him, move him on, well, I kind of accept that that's a valid thing, in all honesty. I really do. I mean, what do you guys reckon? Let me know in the comments. Do you think, what... Do you think Raiola's in the right here? Raiola, I can see the player side of stuff here. Raiola is doing right by his client. My client's not playing. I want to get him somewhere that he is playing. But that doesn't ring true for Pogba. That doesn't ring true for Haaland. That doesn't ring true for all of his players. This is a guy that just moves people on constantly. Mike says, I think De Ligt went there to take advantage of the Italian tax law, then leave after 2 years with no taxes. Don't know enough about Italian tax law to comment on that one. Oliver said, I was open in the presser. They said that the Rona was a massive April Fool's. Yeah, thankfully no one really got involved on April Fool's today, because it does me head in at the fucking best of times. Scott says we've got Tuan Zaber, for fuck's sake. Now that is a mentality that I can get behind, being perfectly honest. I do like Tuan Zaber, and I'd love to see how he could cope with being Maguire's partner on a semi-long-term basis. Anyway, so it says Juventus obviously have got a big interest in Pogba, in prizing him away from Old Trafford, which has raised the possibility. Now, this to me feels like the newspapers have gone, well, there's one, that equals 2. Not necessarily. And they're saying that because we've got Pogba, they want Pogba, and we need a centre half. Easy to make. I don't think it's that simple. But let us know. Would you consider bringing in De Ligt if it meant Pogba going the other way? I would imagine that's got to be a hell of a lot of cash coming United's way for Pogba to go the other way with a player on top of that as well. Lewis says, it's my birthday today, not only April Fools, but stuck indoors all day. Mate, that's got to be a shit day to have a birthday, isn't it? How many shit jokes did you get where people are like, didn't buy you anything? April Fool. Nice one, yeah. The first 400 times I laughed at that. Dick. Alrighty, next one that we're going to talk about, a favourite of mine. I think you guys know by now. And it's hard for me not to get excited about this. Bosh. Saul Niguez. United are reportedly prepared to smash the our transfer fee, and trigger a £135 million buyout for Atletico Madrid midfielder Saul Niguez, according to Sky Sports. Reports suggest that Solskjaer thinks they may not be able to keep Pogba in the next window. Have you noticed how a lot of this relies on Pogba going one way? And Niguez is seen as a potential replacement for the World Cup winner. For me, he's not Pogba's replacement. That's Bruno. This might be Herrera's replacement. A window late or 2 windows too late. I think he's the evolution of Herrera. I think he's better than him. And I'd fucking love him in a United shirt. And I think we'd all soon quickly grow to love him. Saul was one of the key players when Atletico chucked Liverpool out of the Champions League thanks to a defensive masterclass. Him and Thomas Partey, fantastic in that game. And he's received lots of praise for his performances this season. And it's not the first time that the Spanish international has been linked to United, as it was rumoured that Van Gaal wanted to bring him in 4 years ago. Rio Ferdinand was talking about him. He said he's another one. What a player. I've been harping on about Niguez for a few years now. I think he's a major player, composed, calm, great left foot, lovely conductor. He can score goals. Tactically, he's very aware. Big fan of this kid, me. Big fan of him. Would definitely bring him in. Bring in Saul, who would I drop him for? I would probably like to... If we was playing Magic one time, I think that forward 6 from United is probably... Niguez and Bruno, deep. In most games, because both of them will push on. Certainly, Saul would sit deep, and you would push him on in an ordinary game. And then you have someone like Grealish ahead of him. But Grealish also swaps places with Bruno. It's fluid. It's not as rigid as people are perhaps used to seeing. And people can say that's too defensive or too offensive, or that guy's a bit deep. But you got to look at the average position where they take up the ball is. Just because they're in a 4-2-3-1 doesn't mean that they actually sit there. Maybe it's a 4-3-3 with Grealish and Bruno in midfield, and Niguez does the mopping up in behind them. Maybe you go a bit more defensive. Maybe at times it's Fred and Saul. Maybe at times it's McTominay and Saul if it's a particular tough game. What it would give you is options. I think that's what United lack. We're starting to build options. If you bring Sancho in up front, so you've got Sancho, Greenwood, Ighalo, Marshall, James, Rashford, good options up front. 6 players, 3 positions. Sound, you need the same in midfield. And you could have that with McTominay, Fred, Bruno, Matic, maybe keep him around, Niguez. You can find the options in there. And I think that's what United really needed. We need that balance. We need the ability to be able to ride out pretty rough injury crises and stuff like that. We could get Ndidi and Grealish for 135 million, sign a backup winger to Sancho for 50 mil. I mean, the numbers thrown around are eye-watering, aren't they? Which makes you think, maybe it's a bit too much. Amir says, why spend 135 on Saul when you can just let Pogba stay out the next 2 years? Sometimes it's not about that, is it? It's about having everybody pulling in the same direction. And it's painful when you've got someone who's looking elsewhere and doesn't really commit. It's massive that in a team. When everyone's on the same page and doing the same sort of things, that's what you really want. Anyway, I'll carry on with what I was saying here before. Saul is huge, and it's quite in the papers this week that United are interested in him, but we'll have to wait and see. United get linked to everyone. Bang on with that one, Rio. If Pogba's sold for 100 million, would you want to invest that into Saul? Or do you think you're going to go elsewhere? And obviously, as the Grealish transfer come off the table now, because of some of the antics that he's been up to off it. If we don't get Grealish, we'll go for Van der Beek, says Darcy. I don't know. I don't know who we'll go for. I don't know what the hierarchy of transfer targets look like. Barra says, how do we know this isn't a load of bollocks because the newspapers ain't got news to go for? It could be. It could be, but you got to think that these guys are putting their reputation on the line for this, and ultimately, the truth will out in the end. If you just fucking make things up, it comes back round and bites you on the ass eventually. So, you know, everything lives forever on the internet. And finally then, let's talk about Jadon Sancho. I think people are getting a little bit excited about Marcus talking about him earlier, but if you listen to it, he doesn't say anything that you wouldn't expect him to say. United apparently still the favourites to sign him in the next window, according to recent reports. United have held discussions with the representatives of the Wonder Kid. That's talking to a lot of people. Dortmund are adamant that the financial impact of the coronavirus will not force them into selling on the cheap. They have to say that regardless. And Watzke, the CEO, says, I can clearly say, despite the existential crisis for football, even the richest clubs don't have to believe they can go bargain hunting at Dortmund. According to Romano, Dortmund have made it clear to all suitors that they will not accept less than 110 million euros, which is about 95 million quid, which I'd be happy to pay. Xavi also said in a recent interview that Barcelona lack wingers, and the likes of Jadon Sancho or Serge Gnabry would be brilliant for Barcelona. And he said good players have good players through the middle, but they lack wingers. Then he suggested such players as those would be a good fit for the Spanish side. I can start to see the building blocks of a really good United side emerging here. And if you do bring in players with Sancho, I think he's got that right sort of hunger, desire, style of play. I think Saul fits that. And I ultimately still think that, as reports are saying, Solskjaer probably still does think about wanting Haaland in the team. But I hope that he finds who he wants. You know, if he's available in 18 months, say, I'd go sound. I can wait 18 months. If Ollie can wait 18 months, if he can stay in the job and keep progressing for 18 months, I would rather he got who he thinks is his plan A and got them in 18 months rather than settling for someone that he's not sure about and then blowing the entire budget on him. Let's say I've just pull a player out of my arse, Moussa Dembele. They go, right, you can't get Haaland. Let's get Moussa Dembele instead. But Solskjaer's not that certain on him. He's like, all right then, yeah, go on then. Join it. And he ends up settling for someone that he doesn't necessarily want. I want him to see his vision through with his players. That's when we'll find out exactly how good of a manager this guy is. So we get some comments through. Let's see. What is it saying? Ronaldo instead of Sancho, what you think? Move on, man. Fuck me. It was over a decade ago that Ronaldo left. We're not getting that long out of him. He might be a machine, but come on. Won't get both. Which would I prefer, Saul or Sancho? I think Sancho at this moment. I think the midfield looks decent, and I would love McTominay to be given the opportunity to see what he could do. Sell Pogba, get Sancho, Saul, Ndidi. I don't think you'd get Saul and Ndidi, but I think that's the one. Forget about flops like Dembele. Yeah, listen to what I was saying. I was saying just pulling someone out of my arse like a Dembele. Pogba for Dybala. I don't think Dybala suits this team. From the vision that I think that Solskjaer's going for, I think Sancho suits it, Haaland suits it, direct, quite physical, and by physical either rapid or fucking massive sort of players. I think they suit it. Not sure he does. Footy manager tonight, yes, it should be, yes. Matt says, as I've said, Mr. Howson, make the opposition not know who to mark. Threats from everywhere. Yeah, man, that's what you've got to do. That is exactly what we've got to do. Charlie says, we've already tried the strategy of buying whoever is good, available, and shoehorn them in. Strategy is much better, but who we want. Yeah, I agree. And I would like to see us sign more of the Dan James types, not necessarily more players of that level, but like more transfers of that where we go, that's exactly the sort of thing we want. Because I think Dan James was signed to be a backup player who's just ended up playing way more than we thought he'd play because of injuries and stuff. Casey says, why get rid of Lukaku and then sign Haaland? It makes no sense. Which part doesn't make sense? They're two totally opposite footballers. Okay, they're both probably at their best, running with the ball, direct, powerful runners, but they're not the same style of footballer in the slightest. The fact that they both play strikers, that's about all you could say is similar about them. Buy back Memphis. He can play across the front three. Again, I enjoyed Memphis while he was here. I didn't think he got a fair crack at the whip, but he will be absolutely torn to shreds by United's fan base. He's got a fucking rap song out. Imagine how that had gone down. People lose their shit about people smiling on social media. How do you think a rap video would have gone down? Honestly. Like, you can't bring him back, though. He's a good player, and I didn't think he got a fair crack at the whip. But you got to move on. Maybe one of the reasons he didn't get a fair crack was he couldn't handle the pressure. That's a valid thing at a club like United. Who is United's main priority? I think it's right wing. It's the most obvious one. And then I think you can begin to slowly improve everything else. I think goalkeeper is a decision that we have to make pretty soon, to be honest with you. I really do think it's, let's get Sterling. Why? The fuck would we want to get Sterling for? I'd get a Gallo 100% permanently, says PH Vid. Definitely. Saul or Neves. I'd go with Saul because I think he's a bit more physical. Haaland has a rap video. Does he? Well, do you know what? He'll get crucified for that as well. I didn't know that he had that. I'd never seen that. Who will be United's key player next season? I think you can't really look past Bruno, can you? Get Sancho in the bag and make Pogba earn his spot. Dybala will be another Di Maria or Sanchez. Yeah, I agree with that. Dean Henderson in goal. Well, the lads on Paddock have done a video tonight on that debate. Jay and Alex have been having a big debate about who should be in goal for United, whether that is Dean Henderson or David De Gea. So go check that out if you've not already on Paddock. And I'll just say welcome to everybody that's just joined us on Patreon as well. We set a target of 1,500 over this little shutdown. We're well over 1,100 at the moment. If you're interested in a little bit of extra content, you want to see the channel keep going, and mean that we don't have to lay anybody off, everybody can keep hold of their jobs, all the rest of that, then you can check the link in the description for all the benefits that you get for joining Patreon and keep us going if you're able to. But cheers for tuning in tonight. Make sure to subscribe, drop a comment, give it a share, and if you haven't already, may I urge you to go and check out the Budsby Babes history video that we did before. And if you have watched it, send it someone, please. Because those history videos take a long write, they take a long edit, and they don't get the views that they should because they're not transfers or they're not reactions to games. But I think they're an important video, which is why I put so much resource into making them videos happen, and they'll never do the views. So if you can, go check it out and go send it to someone. Give it a share, put it on your social media and all the rest of that sort of shit. And I will say thank you for that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.